The emergence of the Chinese National Oil Company coincides perfectly with the transition of China from being an oil exporter up until 1993 to becoming today the world's largest oil importer.
China used to be self-sufficient in oil supply, even export oil to Japan and some other countries. But with the constant high speed of economic development, the domestic production cannot sustain the Chinese economic development.
China by itself is consuming the equivalent of all the export oil Saudi Arabia produces on a daily basis. Oil supplies are critical jugular to the Chinese economy, the Chinese standard of living.
That's why the companies were encouraged by the government to say, okay, going out and to help secure Chinese oil supply.
Over the past several years, China's investment, particularly in the M&A, the oil and gas sphere, is about $119 billion across the world.
The perception in Beijing is that if we have our national oil companies, which we control and own, out developing, producing oil and gas out there, that's oil that can help if we run into a problem of reliability in our supplies.
Initially, the government would provide the cheap kind of and easy loans. So the companies would feel, okay, if we can get the easy money, we can do this to help the government.
It's unclear often, are they pursuing purely commercial activities? There's a concern in places like the US, Europe, Australia, elsewhere, often that these companies are both driven by commercial opportunity, but also are listening to Beijing's foreign policy and strategic interests. For the companies, it's an opportunity to access new big oil fields, and that's where the business is, that's where the profitability is.
But with the falling price of the oil, the Chinese companies cannot really do as much as before. We think that the Chinese companies now will be more careful and cautious when they make new investments.
The African drivers, they want to utilize the resource and make the best use of the resource, and they want to attract the foreign direct investment.
So some are saying the Chinese investments are neo-colonialism, or they don't care about the local economic development. We want to have an interdisciplinary perspective to look at whether the Chinese investments has or has not helped the local economic development.